Hello, my name is Ikaika Pulutu, and this is my reflection vlog for introduction to entrepreneurship. To give some context, with these videos, I'm going to be reflecting on the week's study and kind of how it's impacted me and what I'm learning and growing from it. The purpose of these vlogs are to see kind of the change and have a reference point back for me for the end of the semester and in the future. I'm taking several other classes which I think will influence what I learn and how I grow. The other classes I'm taking are Introduction to Business, the Cash Cycle, Environmental Stewardship, Writing and Reasoning Fundamentals, and Introduction to Database. I think several of the themes in those that I've seen so far are really lining up with the goals and ideas in this course. For example, in environmental stewardship, they talk about how we need to learn to discern truth and to form our own ideas through valid sources. And I think that's a key part of developing oneself and kind of what it's talking about in here about building our own futures and planning for our own success. But I have some notes from this week's study. The kind of question that I posed myself as I was studying was, what is the purpose of this course? And I have 4 bullet points of things that I think are the purposes of this course. The first bullet point that I had was to learn to walk the more difficult but more rewarding path. I think this quote was specifically from Elder Bednar's talk about learning to not just go the path of least resistance in your education, but really strive to push yourself. And that's something that I think this course is going to help teach. The second bullet point was to learn that I'm not in control of everything, but and also to learn how to fail quickly, cheaply, and often. I thought that was a kind of funny notion when I first read it, why would someone would want to fail quickly. But the truth is, if something isn't working, it's not working, and prolonging it will probably cost you more in the long run rather than dealing with it sooner and being able to use that time that was wasted on that endeavor into something else. And that's really interesting to me. The next thing I wrote on here was that the purpose of this course is to evaluate and take stock of my own life, learn how to do that, as well as how to set stepping stones to reach kind of the star or my goal self. And the last purpose that I wrote on that I think this course has is to learn how to invest in me. I think both learning launching leaders and startup you are 2 resources that will definitely talk about how to invest in me. A thought I had also while reading David A. Bednar's his talk, he talked about how some students take the mentality of wanting to take easy A courses or to not take a certain class because it might risk jeopardizing their GPA. But the thought that I had is, what principle are these actions teaching others? If someone is avoiding difficulty, it shows that they are idle, or that they are afraid of failing. And I know as members of this church, we kind of make a covenant to take upon us Christ's name. And Christ was not afraid of doing difficult things, nor was he idle or lazy. And so, pushing ourselves to be honest and diligent in our work is really teaching those principles to others around us, to our families and our friends. Something, the three questions posed in living the life of or a heroic, or an entrepreneurial hero. The three questions that I liked that were posed in there was, at the end of your life, what will you answer to these questions? Did I accomplish something meaningful? Was I a good person? And who did I love and who loved me? Those questions I've haven't really pondered upon very much, and kind of look forward to crafting what those answers, or what I want those answers to be at the end of my life. And I think having those answers will definitely help me now decide what I want to start doing and to continue doing. Kind of the last thing I wanted to mention was, in launching leaders, he starts about talking how we need to have good friends, and I was like, oh, what kind of good friends? Like, who are these people? But then he goes on to explain that a lot of them are principles and ideas and beliefs, and that lined up straight with an article I read in my writing class called "How to Mark a Book." And the thesis of the author is that to own a book does not merely mean to have it, but it means to read it, to mark it up, to fully understand the principles inside of it, and to kind of absorb it into oneself. That as they do that, that book is actually that person's and a part of that person. And so that idea of owning a book, I want to bring into what is being taught with launching leaders. That becoming friends with the author and the ideas that they're presenting through marking up and diligently studying the books, through not sleeping through them, as the How to Mark a Book suggests, but rather being awake through the whole thing and learning and growing because of it. But this is my first vlog, and I can't wait to see what next week brings and what I learned then.